provided all the information and contracts and such for at least the past 4 days, if not more now. So hopefully, if there was any questions, we've already taken care of those. That would be preferred. Okay, item 3, changes or additions to the agenda. And we do have one change, and that will be 8G, correct? 8G, approved potential purchase, not to exceed 30,000 upgrade security system K-12. Okay, so we will need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I move that the board modify the agenda as suggested to add item G under new business of $30,000 security system, less than $30,000 security system.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, consent agenda. Would you like to do anything? I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as modified.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 5, personnel, approved hiring of Rita Southern, teacher, youth camp teacher.
I move that the board approve the hiring of Rita Souther as a youth camp teacher.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, discussion.
Where's she from?
She is from Bremerton area. She spent a couple of years in Korea doing an immersion program.
Oh, this is that, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
We actually had 2 that have spent some time in immersion programs.
Oh.
Kendall, we hired earlier, and Rita.
Okay, yeah, I read that.
Further discussion or questions? No further questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 5B, approve the hiring of Aldrich John Smith, part-time youth camp teacher.
I move that the board approve the hiring of Aldrich John Smith as a youth camp teacher.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion. No discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item C, approve supplementary contract for 2013-14 school year.
I move that the board approve the supplemental contracts for the 2013-14 school year.
Wait a second, I'll second
Discussion.
I do have a question. Now, the numbers, it's quite a long list of supplements. How are they determined? Do they automatically increase every year? How is that determined?
There's a salary schedule based on each individual contract, whether it's a classified contract or certificated contract. And like, for example, coaches do have some movement on their salary schedule, but it's all predetermined as part of their contracts.
For instance, what is the coach's supplement?
I think it's from, 25 to 45? 48. So it depends on years of experience. Most of our coaches are all topped out on their salaries.
And whether they're a head coach or an assistant coach, or a middle school coach.
Top is 48.
Just briefly, what was the history of supplemental other than coaching? Was coaching kind of like the first one, and they way back when, and they decided that?
That's my recollection. And then it kind of became, well, there are other advisor types of positions who put in, a couple hours a day after school in other, maybe it wasn't athletic, but maybe it was a cheer coach or a drama coach. And a pep band director. So that's kind of how it started, was with coaches, and then it kind of grew out from other comparable time commitments.
it. It hasn't been in there as long as I can ever remember back in, even when I was in high
Isn't that to kind of compensate for their time? I mean, that
Extra
is-
time,
yeah.
travel, work in the summer, basketball camps, football camps.
It's all kind of part of the negotiations, is it?
Further discussion or questions from the board? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item 5D, approved classified contracts for 13-14 school year.
I move that the board approve the classified contracts for the 2013-14 school year.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
Yeah, I think they ought to be reviewed for, to look at, without naming names or anything. I don't have any particular names, other than, I looked at some of the things and they just seem to maybe need some review. And I, make the suggestion, we can't do that now, I don't think, but,
You know, these are bus drivers, cooks, custodians, classroom assistants.
Is that what you're?
When you say reviewed, are you talking in terms of number of personnel, salary?
primarily for my purposes, I think with the salary levels, I just think that there's a few in a way that might be some review.
When is that one? You know,
Well, you have to do your, if you did want to make a change such as a RIF or a reduction in force, you have.
Most of it, I remember like.
Is there a negotiated contract across the board, and then there's like number of years or seniority or whatever as to what their pay rate is that how that works?
Any changes to that being part of it.
Right. And so when is that contract up?
Negotiations we set for this year.
This year.
Wasn't most of the classified people's salaries was kind of equal with other districts in the area here? We kind of set them at that, and then with the course.
I know they've been compared, and it seems like 2 years ago, there was some adjustments in some other areas, yes.
Does that answer your question, Art?
I'm sorry, I guess I was,
Well, it's a negotiated contract, and the salaries are based on years of experience and or seniority, whichever way you want to call it. Typically, it sounds like what we've done is kind of compared with other districts and used that maybe as a guideline as to where we are and where they are. So all those contracts are up for negotiation, or that contract is up for negotiation this year. So it's all under, comes under negotiations. And that process will start before the end of the year, is that correct?
Hopefully finish both contracts before the end of the year, teachers and classes.
And we'll,
so
we'll,
it won't, so they wouldn't, even if the wording changes, it wouldn't take effect until a year from now.
I believe so, yeah. Okay,
Well,
and that's, do they have they have their own union, or that's not through the teachers union?
They have their own.
It's classified union.
PSC, public school employees.
Norman Beckman is there.
Okay, no, it's, okay, got it.
Are their pay scales established by the? No. All right.
Purely negotiated.
Teachers,
Which they are about in the middle, I think, according to their regional union rep at a long. So they bring us survey information anytime it's out.
I think that it would probably be a good idea to have comparisons, so that when we get to that point, we'd have some comparisons to look at. Now, do you know exactly when that negotiation starts, John? No. Lisa?
No,
Usually it's after January.
After January, so the new board will be dealing with this.
most likely, yeah. Unless we're really fast and it's all done. But just because it doesn't work that way, you're dealing with two major contracts to negotiate.
Okay, but I still,
Typically, the teachers go first.
yeah, and I still think it's gonna be a good idea to have a comparison.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing it will come up again.
Okay, further discussion or questions about 5D? All right, it's been and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, 5E, approved leave of absence for 2013-14 school year for Bruce Williams.
I move that the board approve a 1-year leave of absence for 2013 to 2014 for teacher. Williams.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Yes?
Why replacement?
The job's been posted, we've asked for an initial closing on for applications Friday. So the tentative plan is to do interviews Monday.
Okay.
Monday next. Very short timeline, but, we do think we'll have some.
So that's Plan A? If that
Plan
doesn't,
A, B, and C.
Plan B is, do we have a thought for Plan B? So you'll be teaching it?
Sure.
Karen?
Shouldn't have enough.
We'll get there. We can do people.
Okay. Okay, further discussion, questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. Okay. All right, 7, unfinished business, second reading board policies.
Down.
Yeah, let's do
You
it.
guys have a chance to read those? Not so sure how big the print is going to be. I kind of briefly go through those, they're in your packet. I don't know if you'd just rather ask questions, or you want me to just give a quick synopsis.
How about both?
Okay, so one of the big changes, we used to have to do 6 fire drills a month, it's down to 3. The reason it's down to 3 is because it increased the requirement for lockdown drills. It used to be once, now it's 3 times a year. So much more safety conscious this year in our policies and procedures that came through the legislature. Shelter in place, that would be like if you had a gas leak or something, kind of part of the lockdown too, in philosophy. At least once a year, we highlighted the major changes in blue. First, most issues. They do require another safety-related drill, so pretty much next year you can summarize it as testing and safety drills. And we'll occupy most of our time. The school mapping, like what happened last year, during spring break, Karen has talked about the big major drill that was here. What that is police force have in their cars laptops. And so when there's an issue at a school, they're able to bring up your school, your floor plan, what that looks like, so they know what they're walking into. And often it has marked on like shut-off valves and different things. Require earthquake drill, bomb threats. We have flip charts in the offices, tell how to deal with those, emergency closure, health outbreaks, and so forth. And again, these policies are all pretty much codified in our CW. It's provided in them for other guidelines, manuals, laws that have come out a lot of it. Any questions on that one? Okay, go back here. School facilities, not to confuse this with what we were talking about a few years ago. This one is mostly about use by outside parties. There really aren't a whole lot of changes in this one. It does talk about that, they will still provide access to Boy Scouts. There was some discussion about that last time. Mostly those are because of religious affiliated groups, and what that is basically saying is you cannot be selective about which religious groups you will allow to use your facilities. Kind of moving on down, talks about school or child related, you may charge. You don't have to establish a fee, but typically if it requires more manpower, then there's a fee associated with the cleanup or opening up of the building. Same theory on nonprofit groups. Again, the key change here is the district may charge a rental in excess of costs incurred. Typically, we try to just keep it at what it would cost for us to get someone up here to open up and clean up. Commercial enterprise, same thing. Typically, they would encourage you to, do charge a fee. These companies have to show that they have insurance and are legitimate companies. Anything on that? This one, non-discrimination and affirmative action, we talked a little bit about this last time. If you read it carefully, you might have to go one and then kind of go over it a couple more times because it does get a little confusing. And I'm not going to go over it again because it's too confusing. But basically, they want you to increase the ratio of aged persons, persons with disabilities, and minorities. And then it says, by no circumstances shall you, And so,
Yeah, how do you reconcile that?
that's a little bit of a challenge, and basically what we try to do is, consider where we're advertising. I mean, sometimes we are in a pinch and it just has to be a local advertising. Like, for example, what we're running up against right now, we need something quick as fast as we can, but there are teacher websites for jobs that are more nationally based. That's one way you can attract broader, applicant pool.
But, those two sentences are absolutely contradictory. And I can't imagine anyone writing these.
Well, somebody did.
Yeah. Well, my point is, I can't see passing them. It's a policy just because some idiot gives us something that contradicts it in this exact following sentence.
Well, and it did go look that up, and
I know it's even in the RCW. That doesn't strike me
it's
as
in the
important either.
RCW, and so what do you do? I mean, you're sort of stuck, because it's the law anyway, so you could just not choose to have the policy, but then you're in violation of the law, so that's why
I'd love to have someone from the, come and explain it to us. I mean, it really is stupid to have to pass a policy that doesn't make any sense.
I think what it's saying is, we will consider veterans, minorities, obviously, but we're not going to necessarily add points when we interview candidates. We have the scoring rubric. And so if we're going to give someone a 3, we wouldn't necessarily give them a 5 because they're a person of color on a particular question. So I kind of directly relate this to our scoring rubrics. But yes, I hear what you're saying. But given the fact that it's the law, not really, I mean, we could choose not to adopt the policy, but we're still going to be held to the legal aspects of the policy.
Yeah. I mean, you can't help but laugh about it. I mean, it's.
I had to read that
it's
one
so-
several times, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to go look up the law, and it's just the same thing. Yeah, there's several ICWs, and if you go Google those, I'm not going to say that they're anymore there,
Well, the thing is, the superintendent will develop an affirmative action plan that specifies the personnel procedures followed, as they just explained.
right?
I mean, it's an impossible task for you to do.
I think the key is more broad-scale advertising for our positions. For one, I mean, there are national teacher sites, teacher, and through the NEA, for example, National Education Association. We can't force people to apply. This one is kind of hard to get up and running and in practice. It's broken down, the bid requirements, it depends whether, if it's books, technology, infrastructure. So if you look down here, use of state funds for purchases. So if it's less, now this is except textbook, because one textbook adoption alone can easily cost $100,000. So this is less than $40,000, does not require competitive bidding, 40 to 75, and normal procedure for these 3 over 75 competitive bidding process. So for the newspaper postings. And it gives definite guidelines about how many weeks it has to be in the paper. You've probably seen some of those, I'm sure Bob has them in business. They did clear up a lot of language in this one, which is nice. sometimes you can look at the requirements, I won't go into every detail. What I do when it comes to bids is I just go read it every time. I don't even try to memorize it because it's convoluted and that's what it's there for, it has to rely on if we need it. So, now if it's state funds, then it's a little different. You can have repairs through your own department, if it does not exceed 75,000. Gets larger than that, then you're in the formal bidding process. Federal funds, same rationale essentially, 7,500. And again, many RCWs that dictate why we generally tend to adopt these policies.
All right, so further discussion? Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm gonna vote present. I'm gonna call Obama.
I'm gonna
Is
second.
there,
Second the
I'm
note.
present.
is there a box for a present? Okay, so, do you want me to take a roll call vote on that actually, since
Might as well.
we don't really have,
It's up to you guys.
Is it policies as a whole or?
You wanna-
or we kind of lump it
I mean, she really needs to get that straight in the minutes,
Oh, sure.
you know,
Whatever
so
it takes.
it's either gonna be a 3-2 or a 5-0 or a
Yeah.
How about 3-0?
3-0. No, you can
You can
abstain.
abstain.
You
Yeah,
can abstain.
That's how I choose.
Okay.
2 abstains and 2 yeas.
3 yeas and 2 abstain. Officially. All right. Item 8, new business. Approve 2013-14 Title I parent plan.
I move that the board approve the 2013-14 Title I parenting plan.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
How much money are we talking about Title I anyway, do you know, roughly? Title I?
Title I is roughly 100,000.
Further question or discussion? Been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8B, approve basic education compliance minutes for the State Board of Education.
Okay, I did not send a handout on that one, but what that is every year you go on to a system that's called iGrants, which is basically sponsored by OSPI, and you have to basically swear and affirm that your district provides the minimum required academic minutes by law. And so for kindergartners, that's 450 a year, and for first to 12th grade is 1,000. I'm just giving you
How do they come up with those numbers anyway? 1,000 minutes is like 12 hours or something like that,
I
right?
meant in that 1,000
What did-
hours.
What's the point? 1,000
hours?
Yeah,
1,000 minutes, I mean,
hours, I'm sorry.
It's hours.
State
oh, it's
Board of
hours,
Ed.
it said minutes in that, huh?
Right now.
I think
Well,
the
it's
state says that, okay.
Okay, so,
It's set by state, governed by the State Board of Ed, and it is going to change, and we'll go up to 1,080 in the year 1516. We're just basically telling them, yes, we are following your protocols as required. So, the format should have it up there, I can dig it
It's
out.
minutes, that's why it's- It's minutes.
Yeah, it's ours.
Yeah, no, it should be.
so it's actually called a minutes report.
Well, we just want it to see hours.
Okay, so it's actually called a minutes report, but it's actually in hours. So,
All right, good. Okay.
further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item C, approved contract for Pacific County for nursing services.
I move that the board approve the contract with Pacific County for nursing services for the 2013-14 school year.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, discussion.
That was
Lisa, I have a
35,000.
question on that. Have we had all this through the ESD and that nurse?
We have, and we've kind of done both. We've done ESD in Pacific County. It seemed like the last 4 or 5 years before I actually switched over to Pacific County, there was a new school nurse here every year. And we've gone to Pacific County for the last 3-4 years.
Should ask about it.
And been a lot more satisfied with those services and happy with the school nurse.
It sounds like I remember, I'm trying to remember back figures, but saved us a little money by doing that.
It may have saved, but I don't think it was as effective based on,
I don't know, it seemed like it was higher to the ESD, but I don't remember.
this is about a little over 15,000, it's about 36 days of time.
So,
Essentially, it's a
it was
day a
last year.
week. Yeah, it's a day a week, basically. And she's already been here for, screening, helping out, probably finishing up her last year's contract.
So the benefit of going to City County is consistency in who we're actually
Consistency,
getting.
it's been the same person now for the last 3-4 years, knows the kids, familiar with our district.
Kids know this person.
We rival them in ball games and yell at her across the stands, it's kind of fun. That's a good job.
So it does end up being a little more expensive.
Sounds like it would be. I don't remember what the figures
I
were.
don't have the data from 3 or 4 years ago, but I had
But if you have
Feedback
something
from-
personal, it makes it better, the kids get to know that.
And it's local.
Yeah.
All right, further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, approves surplus list.
Move that the board approve the surplus list as presented.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
Did we get that? I didn't see it.
I think so.
I believe we
Never got it all.
did.
May,
Really?
I didn't see it, it was,
No, I thought I did.
is it very long, you know, how long the list is?
There was a couple pages. Page and a half.
Yesterday, I believe.
I'll just,
Is it that night or is it that?
That one, that we're still on,
It's
but
on.
mostly what that list is, the virtual school has changed to supplies and curriculum coming out of headquarters. And so the feedback packet was done here more at a local level. They aren't using some of that, a lot of that stuff anymore. The youth camp, we came and took, I don't know how many boxes. And that's basically what's left after it's been picked through by the public school and the camp. And so a lot of kind of random odds and ends, like this, sell it. Clean it out.
Further discussion on this? Okay, moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, approve fuel bid.
Move that the board approve the fuel bids from Feral Gas and Wilcox and Clayton.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
I think they're the only ones to be submitted bid in there. So we're happy.
Pretty much.
So, was feral gas affected by the fact that we're not going to use near as much propane now? Did that reflect in the price?
Price was
But they're aware of that, right? So basically, we're going to fill it once a year. We're good to go.
They were here when we were installing the system, so we haven't notified them.
Not that you would, but in effect, you know, they said, okay, we're not going to sell you power tax on gallons, so we're going to charge you a little more and gouge you.
They didn't know it's too late now.
And I gotta tell you, the fuel bid, I'd love to be able to get that bid. Holy moly. Yeah. That's, I think I say this every year, but compared to what, I mean, the average person even has to pay, but even as a contractor, having my fuel delivered on site, I can't get it that cheap.
I think one year we had to try it different with Johnson.
Yeah.
And it was more expensive, it didn't work out right, so.
We only had one bid on each, so,
Did you have a question? Ed?
I just, was there an error in the Wilcox?
yeah, they didn't add correctly on the, they were 10 cents off, I think it was.
And that's been corrected.
Well, I don't know if it's been corrected, but they have their regular price plus their 10 cents, so to me, that's the amount, but they can't add on the bottom line.
Right.
Their own issue, I don't know.
They can't send us something and say, oh, we made a mistake.
I don't know, we can check.
Okay, so, is the board okay with this?
We'll approve the amount that they quoted us,
Yeah.
The amount per gallon?
if that's acceptable.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, further discussion? Been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, approve changes to student handbook.
I know that the board approved the recommended changes for the 2013.
Second. Been moved and seconded, discussion.
Have these gone with the students in any degree? Particular classes they take, they go through this or what?
Well, they can explain the procedure, but they are definitely gone over it.
It's gone over each year.
It's gonna reach year, first day of school, we have both a hot sheet that has any changes that each of the first period teachers go over, as well as the full student handbook, and we have pieces that we emphasize. The students are all provided with a copy, and they indicate that they received that copy and the explanation by signing that, as well as their parents.
So
On
the
website.
students and parents sign off on that? Okay. Further discussion or questions? Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approve potential purchase not to exceed 30,000 of upgraded security system for K-12.
I move that the board approve the possible purchase of security systems for the K-12 building not to exceed 30,000.
Second. Moved and seconded, discussion.
What are the specs, or who's developed the specs on this and that sort of thing?
Well, we work with A&E Security. They're currently installing our system at the youth camp, and I know they've been up here, we're up here earlier in the year looking things over, and then just whatever reason didn't get done, and then basically we snagged them to do our project at the camp. And so we haven't closed the book on it, and we're still considering updating the system, and so we'd like to get it approved. In the event that it does happen after the meeting, and all the expenditures are approved, John will be running the numbers again to see how we'll look through the end of the year. It would be an end of the year purchase if we do it.
Is this an improvement in security cameras as well as
Yeah.
monitors and, I mean, just
Ron
upgrading?
could probably give a few more details.
Our current system is 15 to 20 years old, depending on what components you're talking about. And the cameras, several cameras are failing. It's just time to upgrade some of that. And the technology has advanced incredibly since this first one has been put in. And believe it or not, we actually use it a lot on a regular basis. And it's just nice if we have something that actually works.
I mean, just speaking of technology, not even so much the camera, but the amount of investment we've made in our own technology. You know, the computers, you know, that should walk out of here some night, we want a decent security system to see, you know.
Will it require a lot of wiring, or will this be like a Wi-Fi type of system?
Actually, all the wiring is in place, so we can repurpose the existing Ethernet that powers all of the cameras. And some of the cameras are now moving to Wi-Fi, so they're wireless.
Okay.
Do they operate if the electricity goes out?
That is a good question. I would say no, unless there was a
Standby
battery backup system in place.
That's
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you have some lights on that kind of thing, but it would be tough to do.
And we don't have a standby generator, do we?
No.
I know this is separate, this is mainly a camera thing, but how does this dovetail with that increased building security plan, I think that we discussed, you know, the entry and exit and new
this system would include cameras at our entrances, so that we would be able to see. We've also, we're looking into putting, I don't know what it's called, it's a push button open.
Right.
So for example, on the monitor in the high school office, one of the secretaries can see that someone's at the door, right? They ring a bell and we can see who that is and
Right.
buzzing them.
That's part of this thing, then,
Part of it is the cameras are there, the
Monitor.
actual crash bars that open the door are not included in this, but they could be added.
or are we actually doing that? We're installing that sort of thing, or do we not?
No, it hasn't been approved.
So, in case of worst case scenario, if we had somebody that wanted to, how hard would it be to knock the power out of this school?
I'm not an electrical engineer, so I don't.
But I mean, is there one, particular panel that you could, that anybody can have access to? Is it locked in any way?
I believe our panels and all of our transformers, or whatever they're called, are down here,
Right.
so.
I mean, if somebody's, Sandy Hook's gotta make a thing, right?
Yeah.
If they want to knock out the security, obviously you'd knock out the power first. I don't know, just food for thought. Just, if there's a central point, is it have a little padlock on it or anything, so you
Oh, yeah.
can't just open it and click?
Yeah, it's locked.
Mostly deterrent, but
And John and I did talk prior to the meeting that there possibly could be some grants that would be retroactive for this, that we might be able to look into, offset at least some of it.
The 30,000.
and it's not a for sure, but, again, it's
It's an in case.
possible, and I think after working with the gentleman out at the camp, we'll probably get a pretty good price on it too.
Further discussion? Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, H, first reading of board policies, 3226, 3246, 4310. This is a first reading.
Yeah, my suggestion on these is if you would just take some time to read them. I don't think you'll find them as convoluted as the last bunch. Just pretty clear and straightforward in my opinion, and get up further discussion about them next time. Give you a chance to go through the packets and
How soon would the board like those, just prior to the next meeting?
I'd like them a little a week before.
do you have one?
Okay.
I did send them out, so they're
All right.
there.
Okay.
Well, they're already there.
You send the ones to approve and then the ones up on deck each
Sweet.
together.
All right, anything on that? All right, next is, my next regular board meeting is September 17th at 6:30.
Just informational.
Little note there. So business office report.
Okay. So we ended July with
This one.
just under $490,000 cash reserves. Everything appears to be right on track. We most likely will be prepaying some invoices this summer, and I'm estimating our reserves to be between $400,000 and $450,000. That could deviate slightly based on private harvest revenues for timber. We actually don't know what those monies are until towards the end of the month in August, so it's hard to predict that. CBA, we're currently enrolled at 160 students for next year. There's, I think Lori told me today, there's 72 that are in active process at this point, and more are signing up for the program every day. And it typically really increases as we get close to the start of school, and we'll see it increase through November if the last 2-year history is any indication. So we're well, I believe we'll be well over budget as far as what we budgeted for FTE. We'll probably, as soon as we get around 200 students, we'll be looking to hire another teacher. Because
sure, so next time send a little bigger.
Okay. It's very easy to
They're
read.
like this.
Kind of hard to read that small. I think a magnifying glass.
And so I'm not going to read this to you.
I tried that one.
But I did want to just tell you what's in it, basically. The Washington Legislature requires that a report be given once a year that just gives an overview of what the ALE program in the district has done. And so there's an overview here. Look down below, it gives an average monthly FTE of 272 students and an average head count. You can see our certified FTE for the year is about 3.8 teachers. On the back of the first page, it describes our overall goals and objectives for student achievement. Self-evaluations, we talked about student, staff, and family support. Our course catalog, this was the first year that CBA had an actual course catalog, and that families can go onto the website and you can see every course for every grade. That also details the different curriculum. We talked about academic support and student assessments. The last thing I want to provide with this is data from OSPI, which is a survey that all of our parents in the program had the option to complete. And it gives pretty good information about how they think the program is operating for them and their family. And it's not all positive, nothing really is, but the majority of it is very positive. And so this is just some information that we're required to provide to the board. Feel free to read it. Like I said, it's very easy to read through. It's not technical at all. And if there's ever any questions, feel free to call me or come up and visit or whatever. But that's what that is. High school registration is going to be next week, starting on Monday with seniors, and then the rest of the days for the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So, Art, do you have a question?
This survey, of course, is for the entire Columbia,
Yeah.
and so what's been your, I assume that you get feedback as well for what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And do kind of have a feel for that, and you haven't taken a survey, I suppose, but
We haven't taken a survey, but I get emails from parents, not all the time, but quite a, frequently. And most of the parents are very complimentary of the teachers. We have a few issues where I had to deal with some discipline issues, believe it or not, with student cheating and attendance, and of course, when you have to deal with tough issues like that, parents aren't always happy. So there is some of that, but for the most part, parents are very satisfied with the program, and it's easy to understand why, because we have very good teachers and good support staff in there, and it's.
how do we rank numbers-wise with other schools doing this?
Last year, CBA Central was obviously the largest. It's their show, and CBA Naselle was number 2.
John, did they ever come on that law in the past where you, the CBA kid, you were supposed to meet with the parents on a weekly basis, or?
No,
It was in legislature, I didn't see any where it came.
there was lots of stuff in legislation, and believe it or not, none of it passed.
Okay, I didn't know what happened to it, I knew there was
It
bills.
was very fortunate.
Well, that would be,
Yeah.
that could be almost impossible.
Yeah, it was really amazing. No one really knows what happened, but it seemed like overnight, everything was taken out. And I don't know what happened, but, and I know we're in good shape as far as the legislature is for now. And I do qualify that as for now.
Chris?
If that had went in, I thought that would really cause problems, especially that kind of local people over the state.
Chris, you have a question?
No, yeah, I'm just glad that there's like a survey for a program like this, because I like the CPA program, and I I guess just a question I have, because I kind of have some hands-on experience with surveying out the camp there, and when you get results like this, is there an opportunity to maybe reflect on some of this feedback by sending something out to the participants in the program and saying, hey, thank you for your feedback. Here's all the things that you thought that we do really well. Here's some, stretches or some opportunity for us to continue growing and building the program, and here's how we plan to address.
That's all done at CBA Central, and in addition to that, I provide this information to all of our staff, and we go over it and reflect on it.
Right, so I guess what I'm saying is there a way to communicate back to, kind of a feedback loop back to the people surveying, saying, here's what we heard from you.
Yeah,
And
CBA Central does all of that.
So they dictate what your corrective action or your plan is to address certain topics?
They provide us guidance on,
Yeah.
as to how we should do that.
Okay, so the people taking the survey, there's like a response to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Is it broken down, or are you able to get Naselle specific feedback?
I could ask them, but I don't know the answer to that now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just asking that question because, I think
I
that
thought maybe
sometimes,
that's what you were asking about.
well, I think when there's people that, if they have feedback like that, you don't want it to grow into some monster of criticism that can kind of work against the program. So them
CBA
knowing that their
Central
voice
has
is heard, I think is kind of an important
CBA
piece.
Central has an entire communications department
Yeah,
and PR, and they're very thorough on that, so.
yeah.
Everything I can see is that they know what they're doing.
The thing I like about this, of course, the CBA program has an advantage, the online program has an advantage, the parents are all very involved. I'd like to see something like this at the school level. I'd like to see what kind of reaction we get from parents, kids who are going to school here. And this kind of detail for that, I read this last year too, and I'm not interested in reading it this year, but it's really interesting to see, as it is. It's not all positive, some of it's critical, but I'd love to see that kind of stuff for the school right here.
Okay, that's all I have.
Principal's report.
Immersion update, we had Lynn, actually Tina is a college board teacher, and she arrived on August 2nd in Naselle after spending 10 days in Los Angeles and training with the college board. And Lynn arrived on August 8th after 10 days of training in Washington, D.C. And although they're both from incredibly large cities, 3 million plus each, they seem to be adjusting quite well, to the wildlife. But very, very nice ladies, and amazingly very, very good English. I'm very impressed by their level of communication in English. So I'm really giving a lot to the staff. And I've had many compliments already from the staff who have met them, saying they're really a great addition. And so far we have 30 kindergartners now, and 16 of those are in the immersion program. And I've actually had families call me up who initially were not going to have their children in the program, who have changed their minds. And so we do have more in the program. We went from 10 to 16, so in kindergarten. And then Sherry was just telling me that we are enrolling some more first graders. So it could be up over 30 in that group. Although I believe we have lost, and we don't know because we can't contact them, a couple of students, so that number could go down by a couple of groups. But those classes are pretty large. And just an FYI, I have received several calls already from out of area residents who have already asked to have their children on the program next year. So if we have that kindergarten program, they asked to be put on the list. And today and yesterday, overload here, dimensions, criteria, engagement, Lisa and I and John spent the last 2 days in Vancouver with the new evaluation tool, going over, it's called stage 1, which is the implementation, how to utilize the new evaluation tool. So we had 2 full days, very full days of training, and I'll be attending another one tomorrow. I'm doing walkthroughs, and then we have a 5-day training that'll be over the course of the year, which is stage 2, which further assists you in administrative and evaluation tools. So it's all good. I mean, they a lot to look for, and like I said, our brains are on overload, and a lot about engagement, how the students are now doing the talking in the classroom. That's what it should look like, that students are engaged in talking to each other about their learning with the teacher as a facilitator. Is another direction that they're looking for. So anyways, it's all good. So stay tuned, and we continue to run with that. Next Tuesday is our first day for teachers in service, and we will begin by having an anti-harassment/boundaries workshop. It's just an obligatory workshop that we're going to have for our staff. And that will be followed by bloodborne pathogens, which is another required training. And that will take the morning. And then there will be, Denise, I think, will speak to you afternoon.
Yes, right after bloodborne pathogen, you're going to have lunch, so. Probably should have done that in reverse order. But first, youth camp, enrollment's running right around between 88 and 90, it changes daily. We finished our summer session on August 9th, we're preparing for next year, getting ready for scheduling, like Karen said, training for administrators, because we'll have new teachers on that new state mandated evaluation system, which we all keep that. Kind of move into the next part. Obviously, we're getting ready for back to school here. We start in service on the 27th. And we're really hoping you can join us at noon for lunch on the 27th. We've invited our retirees this year to join us and have a little, just a brief little few comments for them. We obviously have a lot of retired educators in the community, custodians, bus drivers, so we took the liberty of inviting our retired folks to come, and just kind of want to take a little time to honor them for laying the foundation for us, for our school system, and we've heard back from probably 15 so far, 15 or 20 who are going to come. Lyle Patterson will be here, Dean Carter, Mike Matthews, just different, Frida, so we're kind of looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. The folks are going to come in and put together a lunch for us. So hopefully after bloodborne pathogens, we'll all be really hungry. And that is, I think that's your turn.
Well, I have a question for
Okay.
you. How's your transition been, I mean, in your ability to do both jobs at this point? It's been
Well,
all
right now it's a little more manageable because the camp, camp has let out, obviously, but I'm not going to say it wasn't pretty challenging, especially the first month or so. There were about 3 very big critical things that kind of just happened to come up all at once. And that's sort of usually how these jobs work. It's kind of like this. But it's been very enjoyable. Lots of, every day it's a new learning, and I like that. I like to keep busy and always doing something, so I found
Well, we don't want you to get too busy.
Yeah.
We don't want you to overload.
Right, and that's something I'm aware that I know I need to keep myself in check, because like I said in my interview, I don't do a good job of distracting. I try to put that aside, it'll actually be easier when school starts, because then school will be back in session, and I'll have a couple of staff out at the camp, and they will help cover for me when I'm not here, vice versa, so.
The other question I had, how's the transition been between, since you guys divided up your responsibilities? Has it worked out? Do you think it's going to work out?
We haven't had a lot, we're still going to work together. It's just that we divided up, in our
Has it evened things out more for you?
Yes.
That's
Are you
definitely
okay,
the plan.
Karen?
You all right? I'm just having that.
You do like a heating pad or something?
I'm sure it is.
You're making my back hurt, bro.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I think the transition, I think it is going to make it a lot easier for everyone as some clarity, you know, who could go to whom for what. It's only been about a week or so since it's kind of been formalized, but I think most artists are going to make a lot easier.
One thing I'd like to hope, you said you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, that you have to make, at least tell the board that we can address it or do something, see what we can do.
I appreciate that.
So don't work yourself in the ground, but
Yeah, I know, I have to keep myself in check.
Well, I personally like to commend the admin team for the transition. I mean, I think you guys have done a great job, all of you, Marilyn included. I know Marilyn has, you know,
She's our steady.
yeah, quite a load here, and so I think that it's gone really well personally. I've probably been as close to it as anybody sort of on the outside, I guess, looking in there. So I think it's been a positive step. So,
We'll get there.
you know, communications and keep up the good work, right? Communications are key. You guys, you know, run into an issue, let us know. We'll try to help you guys out any way we can, make it work out.
I find the updates are good.
Updates are great. Appreciate the,
A little information overload that I feel like give out there.
no.
Because it's just like, boom, here comes 15 documents.
And so, I mean, I guess I can't stress it more, is that, you know, it's my goal to be transparent and upfront with everybody and everyone. You know, it's a public school, it's the way it should be. And I think that you guys are doing a great job in getting that, moving in that direction. And I hope that the community feels that way. You know, if not, let's make it work, right? There's nothing to hide here. So, anything else from the board? Yes, Art? Whoops, sorry, go ahead, Holmes. Go ahead, Art.
But these are just ideas, things that, you know, we might want to discuss, or at least I can see if it's possible to have. But, you know, we haven't ever had a discussion about curriculum. And, you know, I feel isolated from the teachers. I mean, you can come during the year and during the school day and everything that they're all teaching, and you can't really get to them to talk to them very much. But I would love to see, you know, occasionally, I don't know if we can get them to be here, but I'd love to once in a while have some teachers just summarize synopsize their plan for the year. What are they teaching? What are they thinking? What are the ideas? And just get a report from a random sample of them. I mean, I like to hear from them. I just feel really isolated. I don't have a child in the schools. I don't have that kind of, but even if I did, I'd still like to hear. Counselors too. I mean, I don't know what they're, one of the things that in my travels around these two counties is that I do hear about, people not feeling like some of the graduates, are not quite ready to take on some of the jobs that are right in this local area, for instance. And so, what are the counselors doing with respect to getting some of the area-wide businesses from Weyerhaeuser to some of the ones in Astoria and some of the contractors here? I mean, what are we doing that year? I don't know what we're doing. We may be doing a whole lot. I'd like to hear about it. The other thing I'd love to see is a survey of the graduates for the last 5 years, say, where are they? We don't have very big classes. It'd be pretty easy to find everyone out, find out what everyone is doing, and have a report as to, what are they doing?
I'd like to see that.
And we don't have, it might be a good, project for one of the classes to do. I don't know, it wouldn't be that hard.
Senior project.
And then, I know last year, John, you started some, increase the writing skills, so you noticed that they weren't too good, and I know I'm interested in hearing a report on how that went and what the plan is this year. I just feel like we're so isolated about what's going on in the school. We do the business of it, and, it's boring and sometimes we get into it, but we don't really get to the education part of it. And, these people do, they maybe don't want to even talk about it anymore, but I feel like we should be involved in it. We're not.
Is there a specific curriculum or grade level you'd like to start with?
No, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. although maybe high school, but just because it, because we graduating soon, but sooner than the others, but yeah, just, this is kind of my,
Has the writing skills dropped over the past years, you think, John?
I believe they have. Yeah, not because of any fault of the teacher. I think the shift has just happened at the state and national level to focus on different things.
Because of what you're mandated to teach?
Yeah, and so in recognizing that, we just want to try and, refocus our efforts and try and help the kids,
I mean,
despite that.
the only thing I have to go on is from, my son graduated in '98, okay? Was out of school for a while, went to college right away, didn't like it, worked for a while, went back to school. And when he was in WSU, the professor was using his writings as examples. And he said that these kids coming out of school from all over the place literally could not write a sentence. And that this teacher was just, or this professor was just like, we're going to look at Brian's and,
that was
and I
before,
think that there was a lot of kids,
It's a national.
maybe back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that were also used as examples in some cases. So we've slipped, and not by our own fault.
No, don't get me wrong, I think the teachers themselves have identified that they're slow. I mean, they see it in their classes, and they came forward and said, listen, we gotta work on this.
So much.
But ironically, if you look at assessment results, our students do quite very well on the writing component, so it's the shift.
On what the state requires.
Yes.
We do well on that.
Yes.
The state's dumbed down their.
Yeah.
If that is writing necessary for the outside world.
Yeah, and that's, and how do you solve that when you still have to meet that requirement of the state?
Well, one thing we're doing is we're emphasizing writing in every single class. And so,
So you're gonna take it one step above,
yeah,
and so you can still hit that
Right.
mediocrity target of the state.
yeah, so whether you're in biology or you're in, history, the teachers are focusing on writing, and we've developed a school-wide rubric that
Does that-
identifies what that writing should look like.
Does that take away from any other target that the state may have by maybe emphasizing the writing part of it a little bit more?
No, because the fact is that you write in every class anyway.
It would almost seem like it would make it better.
Yeah.
And Bobby, actually, I was talking to Diane, because Diane is coming to take over the 6, 7, and 8 English, and we had a discussion about that. So Diane will also be working on writing extensively with the students. And elementary teachers do begin way down, second grade at their own levels, teaching, grade appropriate writing skills that we really want to improve and beef that up.
I think just the challenge now is every time you turn around, there's a new standard. Our academic minutes are going to go up, we're not going to squeeze in more. Before it was just reading and writing, now it's math, now it's science, now we're going to drop science and have a different test for reading and writing. And the bar is always moving, and it's hard to get everything in, and typically if one area goes up, another area goes down. So keeping them all high is obviously the goal, and it's a pretty big challenge,
And the test is changing again.
and the test will change again.
I know on the one point that you made are on local jobs. I don't have a bunch of them, but I have trucks to wash and shop to clean and this kind of stuff. And I usually get kids either still in school or just have graduated and trying to make some money to go to college. The things that I see that they lack is they're not punctual. It's like they show up whenever they please. Oh, I want to go home for lunch. Okay, and an hour goes by and it's like, okay, I call on my cell. So where are you? Oh, well, something else came up. Okay, so you're gonna treat this like a real job or what? Because I can treat it like, okay, I guess I won't pay you then. Things like that. And it, I have one young lady that comes in and works with Karen Pertrock to clean my shop to help her because her knees are starting to get bad and she's walking on the concrete. So the first thing she wants to know is when does she get paid, right? First thing out of when's payday? Then she has a very set organization of how she cleans that shop in progression. Well, that didn't really, she didn't realize it was going to be so regimented, And so I think that it's an adjustment period for the kids to kind of learn that, and it's important. I don't know how we address that as a school. I mean, how do you, they got to be here and they've got to go to class on time. That doesn't necessarily equate to a job apparently in some cases. I suppose in some other cases it does, but that's what I see mostly is that, it's like, really, I actually have to, do this, and this before I sweep the floors, or whatever. Or I actually have to come back after lunch. So I don't know how we address that, but it's just interesting kids' thinking nowadays, But if the cell phone rings or they get a text message, they're right back on that, like that, They've got that covered. So.
I know that, where you probably heard it too, but, Weyerhaeuser has, some days when they take students through to show them what kinds of people need, what do they need in people that come to work for them. And they kind of go through it. I don't know if we participate in that, but we should. If we don't, I don't know how, it doesn't have to be on the weekends, I don't know, but I heard about that and I said, well, that's a great idea. It's good for them, it's good for the students to find out what kind of technology do they need if they're not going to go to school, or if they have to go to school to get that. They could see some young kid working there making a lot of money, and they say, what do I have to do to get that? It's just be inspired. I just think there's if we're not doing it, we should look into it, and maybe we have done in the past.
We have David Anderson. He was a former student. He didn't graduate from here, but he is a lineman, and he goes all across the country. He said he's been in all 50 states. He's actually coming here. He's asked if he could come and do that very thing, talk to our students in the fall about the program at Camp Idea. It's students come from all over the country for that program, and very rigorous, but very rewarding as well. And it's one of those where you don't need to go to college, but you have to be responsible, and it's
One thing that I've been actually able to do is you can just go online and register as a certified trainer for CDL. And so I've actually been able to get my guys on-job training and work through it. They have to get their permit for the CDL. And then after they have a certain number of hours in the seat with a CDL licensed driver, then I'm able to sign off on a certificate. And they're able to go in and get their CDL, take all the testing and stuff still. But they don't have to, see, there's only two ways to get your CDL nowadays, and that's either to go to a certified training course that just is specifically for CDL, or there's, like in Woodland, there's an operator's school that provides that along with operators training. So it's worked out pretty well. It's a little costly for an employer, actually. Because you got this guy that you're basically slowing your operation down, but hopefully it's beneficial and for a good reason, and the employee will stay with you, which you never know, because there's always bigger and better things. You just take that chance. But
Lord, I believe Laura Columbia College has a training for CDL, and I know Welsh Trucking has that they hire people and they pay them a certain cut rate, but they teach them to drive.
well, any business, or I guess that has the means to actually train, can be a certified trainer. You do have to document the hours in the seat and all that stuff. So there are ways to do that, the CDL versus, because it's like $8,000 if you go to the operator school.
I guess what I'm trying to think of is the advantage, but I would have liked to have done it myself. To some extent I did, but to get some kind of a technical training that you can make some money to help put yourself through school later on. Especially now, we have, the school being so expensive, and we shouldn't be pushing kids into college just for the idea that it's the best thing for them right away. Because if they don't have the money, they have to borrow the money, and we know what happens there. We've got kids, way too many kids now. Like there's $1 trillion of educational debt out there. It's just ridiculous. So we should be thinking about how to help them, help themselves. I mean, when I got to school, if I couldn't pay for it, I didn't go. That's the way it was back then. I don't know where this idea of borrowing to go to school came from, but it certainly is too big now, and we should be involved in that.
Okay, anything else from the board?
Go ahead. Just a couple of little small things. We were talking about the ability to have the power shut off. I was just thinking, if we ever get a chance and we have some extra money, maybe we could look at getting a backup generator for the school.
Isn't there a generator out there?
You have a generator, it's not hooked up. Okay, from West actually donated a propane generator.
Oh.
I don't know how many watt it is or how that's even measured.
Is it still operable?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it runs on propane.
Yeah.
So is that something that had to be piped all the way from the propane tanks we have?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to even know how it works.
Your dad must know how to work.
Oh, he knows, yeah. But he's in Hawaii.
There's something
Well, we don't have to know today. It was just, yeah, something like that.
It's pretty big though, it's huge.
Yeah, it is.
It's down there, you can see it.
Second thing is I'll probably be going to the legislative assembly for the WASDA people, and if anybody's interested, I have probably Art, you're probably going to be interested in this. But the WASDA, I wish they were actually in charge of the state of education, because they have really good ideas, and they have really good ways to approach things, and what they want to do with education and stuff, they're much better than what the legislature does. And then again, if anybody's interested, I gave Art a thing from WASDA, which said about the House bills that have been passed and what each district is going to have to adopt. And I know that raised Art's blood pressure a little bit there, but there's a lot of stuff in there. There's stuff that we're going to have to adopt, I guess, to get money. It's kind of, we should that's all.
Summarize some things.
So how many board members will be coming to the WASDA workshop?
The WASDA conference.
Conference, I should say.
I'm not
Sorry.
going in November.
You go.
Whoever, no, I'm not gonna go, but whoever goes, only one member votes,
That's the legislative one.
legislative one.
Yeah. I'll be going.
The legislative one?
No, to the WASDA conference.
I'll be going to that regular conference.
The regular conference.
I got a board meeting.
I think just for Maryland's information.
I think she's looking at first for everybody, right?
Right, but if not everybody's going, if we cancel in time, we get our money back, correct? And how much time do we need? So if you're planning on going, or if you're planning on not going, maybe let Marilyn know if you go, please.
Yeah. That's in Bellevue this year.
Yes. Okay, anything else from the board? Anything else from the board?